Good morning, folks. Today we are talking about belts, carry belts specifically. Not a fashion belt. It is not going to be something you're going to wear out to dinner with your significant other. They'll probably kill you. This is the Wilderness. It's actually the Wilderness is the name of the company, Instructor belt. And in this case, this is their most common version. This is the 5-stitch version. And what that means is that there's stitching straight through the layers of the belt. Up top, 3 in the middle, and then 1 along the bottom. All they're trying to do is make the layers of the belt a single piece so that they can't flex against each other and slide. That's all you're trying to do. The stitching itself doesn't add stiffness. The stitching keeps the material from moving compared to the other pieces of material, which creates stiffness. They do offer this in a lined version with a plastic liner. That is something some people really want. I think the only reason to do that is if you were going to use it in a situation where you know you're putting a bunch of heavy stuff on it. You're using it as a training belt and you're really loading it down. If you're using it in a military environment where it's basically turning into a piece of load-bearing equipment, or if you're, say, an EMT carrying a bunch of gear on it. But for most of us, just the 5-stitch. Don't do the regular, what is it, 2-stitch is what they're calling it? 3-stitch, so they do one down the middle. Don't do that. It works, but now you're down into it's not really any better other than the better construction quality than a lot of the competitors. Now, I don't know if this is going to show, but if I try to bend this, I can kind of flex it, but it takes a lot of effort and it only goes so far before it really doesn't want to go any further. That's key. That's the critical thing, because what happens is it isn't this floppy. It isn't even this floppy. It's, can I flex it this way and how far? Can I bend it? Most of the competitors bend more easily and bend further. What that means is when you put something on the belt, that's applying leverage like this. And it's trying to pull it away from your body, usually. It's trying to lever itself away from your body. This resists that. It keeps it neutral. It keeps the weight going straight down, which means it keeps it where it's supposed to be. One thing Wilderness Instructors, the Wilderness does is the stiffness ends right up here. So when you get to the part where you need that buckle and it's going to have to flex with your body and be comfortable, they give you this section where it's soft. It's not even remotely as stiff as the rest of the belt. And then up here, it's the same thing. The portion of the belt that has the Velcro on it is much softer. It is not 5-stitched. It is not going to be lined. It is designed to get flexed so that it's comfortable for you to wear. So you can easily fold it over and adjust the sizing. Okay? The edges on this, rounded but sealed, they're folding over the material, so there's no edge out here. The edge of the material is not exposed. Now, the buckle, what to say about the buckle? It is proprietary. It is their design. It is very tough. This is not chintzy pot metal. It isn't Chinesium. This is a heavy-duty buckle. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but there is kind of checkering, or not serrations, but there's some friction here. On this part, there's almost no friction. So you're not wearing on the belt. Okay, the backside is rounded over, nice and smooth, and it's a large diameter. It's not going to damage the belt. That's why it doesn't create a set spot. But when you put it back through in the front and pull, you see what it does? It pulls that portion forward and grabs that spot in the belt. So when I close this off, when I pull, it locks in. Not kind of locks in. It's not relying on that Velcro. It is locked in. This is not meant to be a safety belt in the sense that this is what you're relying on as a normal part of your job. But if you're doing something where your option is, I'm not clicked in, I'm not, there's no safety line attached right here, or there is, this will hold. Is it going to be comfortable? Is it going to not have, any injuries on you if you fall? Probably not. It's going to hurt. You're going to get hurt, but you'll live. You won't fall. You won't just keep going. Just in general, having that option is nice. It also stabilizes it. What I've found, it's not, and by the way, one of the reasons this holds so well is when you pull here, it levers itself and adds even more grab because there is a strip here that sticks out further. It really locks it in. If you're lifting or pulling away from the body on the hook, this isn't going anywhere. Now, I will say, for those of us with hair on our bellies, it does grab. I don't particularly like to wear this belt without a tucked in shirt, but it's not as bad as some belts. Most of the belts in the similar type were worse for me, and honestly, even some leather belts, it rips the hair out, it hurts. It's no fun, right? It is what it is, guys. Now, what are the downsides to this belt? It isn't pretty. It is very utilitarian looking. It is what it is. They do not offer pretty colors on the buckle. They only offer a couple colors on the belt, none of which are non-tactical. It's like military green, military tan, and black. So if you're not looking for military police kind of vibe, this is tough. At that point, my suggestion is go get a nice Carry designed leather belt. Go get a Milt Sparks, a Mitch Rosen, one of the other companies that actually knows what they're doing for carry gear, and get a good leather belt. Don't get a cheap one. Don't get one that isn't 2 layers stitched together. Don't try to go stupid simple on this. Going to the local, leather working shop and buying a leather belt, going to Walmart and getting it will not work. It will be uncomfortable. If you think carry is not comfortable, you're probably wearing the wrong belt. You might have the wrong holster, but you probably have the wrong belt. I will say that in terms of value, this is $55 right now. You can pay a little more, you can pay a little less if you order them in different places. Make sure it's actually the Wilderness belt, though they do their badging. They're made in the U.S. This is a fully U.S. product. You can get it without the 5-stitch. It's usually a little cheaper. Right now they are on sale. They're giving the 5-stitch away for free. Whatever. It's worth the $5. So, I wouldn't worry about it. One of the things that they do talk about in their advertising is that it's a chip-resistant paint. And I normally take that heavily with a grain of salt. If you tell me you have chip-resistant paint and it's going to look good for a long time and all that, I go, okay, so you didn't just spray paint it with Krylon, but really, take a good look, folks. There is definitely a little wear and tear on a few spots. And you can kind of see in here where the buckle slides back and forth and has rubbed that finish. But there's no like chip marks, there's no shiny spots, there's no gouges. I have worn this for 15 years. I have been laying down on concrete, shooting prone. I have lain down on bare concrete, okay, and shot a 50 caliber prone wearing this belt. Yeah, there's a reason. There's a look in my normal spot. There's a little fuzzy section on the folded over area. That's from laying down and shooting prone with this, because it rubs on the concrete and has abraded the nylon. Hasn't worn through, hasn't damaged it, but it's just a little fuzzy on the top. But the buckle itself looks great. There's nothing prompting me to go, hey, I need to go get a rattle can and repaint that. 15 years, folks. Now, if you do click in all the time, if you've got a carabiner, rattling against that all the time, you're gonna wear a shiny spot in it. You just are. But you're gonna do that on anything. But what you're not gonna have is, you bump it into other equipment. You just daily wear and bumping around and things like that is not going to chip the paint and make it look like shit. I have seen plenty of other belts where their buckles, after 3 or 4 months of use, any finish they put on there is long gone. And then you have to decide, am I fixing that? Can I fix that? Am I just getting a new belt? People occasionally, wince at the $55 price tag. And then they go spend $30 on a belt that might last them a year. Spend the money. Buy once, cry once. It's not that much money. For a leather carry belt, you're figuring $100. No, like minimum. That's normal price. My Galco, I think, was $100. And Milt Sparks or Mitch Rosen, somewhere in that ballpark, 120, I think, for right now. Worth every penny. If you want a nice quality belt, spend the money. Don't cheap out. If you're buying a gun, if you're buying a good holster, if you're buying ammo for serious purposes, you don't start out with, well, it has to be the cheapest option, right? You may have a budget. You may be like, I don't want to spend more than X because I can't afford the whole package if I spend more than X. But if the belt is what's going to break the bank, reevaluate your whole choices. Honestly, if you're looking at a $800 gun for carry and a $50 holster and a $25 belt, your priorities are wrong. Go get a $600 or $550 Glock, a good holster and a good belt, and an extra couple magazines or a couple extra boxes of ammo to practice, and you'll be better off. It's the whole thing. It's you, your carry equipment, and the gun. It's not just the gun. So that is it. Thank you for watching. Take care, have fun, stay safe, keep shooting.